Today, I will be explaining a creature in the Backrooms that you've definitely never heard of. It's one that sneaks around many levels inside of the complex, and one that hides in the smallest cracks possible. Today, I will be explaining Backrooms Entity 69. Aha, funny number. AKA polyropods. These entities are taking over the Backrooms by storm, and they're very interesting to say the least. So if you want to hear all about them, their lore, why they look like that, and all that stuff, stick around for this explanation. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we? Entity number 69, or the polyropods, are a unique entity set in every sense of the word. They seem to be some kind of advanced type of arthropod that has been seen on many different levels of the Backrooms. They're known far and wide for their signature ungainly, skinny appearance with a ton of legs shooting off their main body. Typically, and on the surface, these creatures are calm, when they're not in their hunting mode, that is. But they also have very strong mandibles near their mouth and a potent venom that comes out of those. These things are very unsettling to look at, they're very uncanny, and they move unnaturally smooth. But we'll get into all that in the different sections of this video. But first, I want to talk about their biology. Instances of Entity 69 can vary widely in size. Some could be 6.5 feet tall, others could be 50 feet tall, and all of them are pretty much just made up of legs and a very small body. There's no torso, there's no head, none of that stuff. Just like their heights that range from small to large, so can the number of the legs that they have. You can see an instance with 5 legs, or you can see one with 20 legs. It really just depends on which level you run into one at. These creatures have a very unique exoskeleton with a chitin-like exterior armor. This chitin is aligned in such a way that it absorbs over 99% of light that hits it. So it's pretty much Vanta black, and you really cannot see it if it's hiding in the shadows or hiding against a black wall or a dark wall or something like that. And it uses this camouflage to its advantage to hunt people and other creatures. The entity's legs have multiple joints inside of them, which means there's tons of different bending locations as well. This means that they can contort themselves and they can fit into these very, very tiny and cramped locations, even though they can be massive. They also have the ability to walk and run pretty much around or over anything. And speaking of running, they're known to be very, very fast. The levels page says they can run about 100 kilometers per hour at full speed, which is faster than some cars. They're also known to move with an unnatural smoothness and agility, almost using no wasted movement or momentum when they do this. And because of this, they are very efficient hunters and very agile ones, to say the least. I just love when giant spider things can chase after me in a speed faster than my car can go, and you can't really hear when they're walking either because they're so silent. It's probably my favorite thing ever. And speaking of not being able to hear, these things cannot hear either. They do not have ears, which I guess is the only redeeming factor about them. You can kind of make noise and don't have to worry about stepping around, but they're still terrifying to look at. The many legs and appendages of these creatures have something on the tips of them called scupullae, or I think that's how they're said, but these are those little patches of thick hair that exist on the bottom of spider legs, and these are the things that give them the grip and the extra grip to climb up the side of things and to hang upside down and to run faster. And as if these giant skinny leg creatures weren't scary enough, they can hang upside down, climb over anything, and hang anywhere. Yay! At the very center of this creature, where all of the legs meet, is its cephalothorax, which again is a fancy science word for its body. It's where all of its organs, its eyes, and its mouth are fused into one little tiny box. Each instance of this entity seemed to have about 10 eyeballs and a small mouth next to a pair of strong mandibles. The venom that these creatures excrete through their mandibles is a very thick, very black liquid that seems to be some sort of digestive and paralyzing enzyme. If that venom gets to your skin, or worse, inside of you, it'll cause strange bumps and things of that nature, and your skin will begin to fall off. After this, your body will begin to get paralyzed, and you'll stop being able to move. And inside of your body, when all of this is happening, the venom will cover your organs with a mucus substance, and it'll cause your heart to stop pumping. And it's at this point where the entity will come out of whatever hole it lives in and begin to consume you while you live. These creatures are sly hunters, and they're known to be very smart, very resourceful, and very agile. With their skinny bodies and their legs that can bend and warp at crazy degrees, they can squeeze into extremely tight passages and cracks that you wouldn't think they could. It's kind of how like squids can squeeze through really tiny holes because they have no bones. That's pretty much what these spider things can do, and it's terrifying to think about. The way these entities hunt is usually by stealth, and that's usually what they use to their advantage because they don't really make sound when they move. Typically, they'll walk around a backrooms level for days or weeks where they think prey resides, and they'll kind of study around where things go, whether it's human prey or another entity. They'll kind of watch where they walk, and eventually they'll sequester themselves into a crevice or a dark hallway or a hole of some sort, and they'll wait for that thing to pass by. And when they do so, the creature will throw its arm or one of its appendages out of the crack, and they'll stab that entity or prey with their unnaturally long arms, and they will inject the venom inside of them. Typically, they go for the neck or the stomach or something, or anything to try to make the victim be paralyzed or stop moving. But once that venom kicks in and it actually paralyzes the prey, the entity will then squeeze itself out of that hole and begin to consume it while it's still wiggling around. In a weird, disturbing twist, these entities have also been seen playing with their food. What I mean by this is after they inject venom into a wanderer, they've been witnessed holding the wanderer up and essentially puppeteering the wanderer to make it walk around like it's still alive in order to lure other people closer to it just so it can eat them. If that doesn't terrify you, I truly don't know what to tell you. That is horrific. The creature was first discovered on level 17 back in June of 2016, but since then, they've expanded and been witnessed on many different levels of the backrooms, all the way from level 1 to level 208. These creatures thrive in the dark, damp reaches of the backrooms levels because, like I said, their habitat is dark, underlit places where there's damp environments and where you wouldn't expect something so big to be hiding. Even though these things can get 50 feet tall, they can get into cracks that are just a few inches wide by just squeezing down inside. You as a person might think you're safe when you're so deep into a level and like the walls and stuff are too small for big entities to live in, until you run into one of these things that is probably bigger than any creature you've seen, yet it can fit in the smallest hole you've seen. They also exist in outside backrooms levels where there's wilderness or cities, and that just gives them more spaces to hide. These entities are extremely uncanny to look at. They seem unnatural, they seem alien-like, and the fact that they can grow to these massive, huge sizes, but hunt people and hunt entities with such swiftness, and the way they do it, it's heinous, but it's also pretty cool. I can't even lie, but hopefully you think so too. That's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. I really enjoyed this entity and learning about it. I actually discovered it while I was looking at the sandbox wiki over on the wiki.discord server, so I get some of my levels from there. Shout out to the author. This one was crazy. I really like this entity. It's very backroomsy. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like if you want more entity explanations and level explanations and everything else. I got a ton of new stuff coming, and if you want more in the meantime, go check out Toogly and Spoogly as well. If you want more content from me, follow my Instagram, follow my Twitter, yada yada yada. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for all you do. I love and appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next video.